What's up, everybody? It's your boy Mike Sims. Let's be blunt. Happy Juneteenth. We're in the studio today, and I got a lot on my mind, a lot of heavy things I wanted to talk through. But definitely want to recognize Juneteenth as a day of proclamation from slavery. Back in 1865, I believe in Texas was the first place it was celebrated. But ultimately, the enslaved figured out today that they were free. We're talking about 1865, which is forever ago, but it's heavy on my mind today. It's heavy on a lot of things. You feel like we've made so much progress forward, and it feels like most days we're taking steps back. Uh, my fight, my purpose in life is cannabis, and when I got involved in cannabis, I realized early on at the age of 13 that what we're being told is not matching my experiences with cannabis, and it ultimately started my passion in this product and this movement. And at 13 years old, now being 44 years old, you think we'd be so much further along in this industry and in this world. I remember growing up hearing about the civil rights movement. I remember hearing about, even as far as back as the Revolutionary War and how we left, you know, and over taxation and how we all stood up and fought for what we believe in and the fundamentals this country was built on through the Constitution and Declaration of Independence. And it seems today like all for what? Why? Why have we come full circle where we were a country built on freedom and prided ourselves on freedom and allowing people to be people and be who they are? And it worked well for a while, but we're back to opposite of that. And we are now part of a two-party system, Democrat and Republican. And they'll tell you that there's independents. They'll tell you there's green parties. They'll tell you there's all these other parties. But ultimately, we have two choices. And that's very much so by design. And why I bring all this up is because we have the illusion of freedom and choice in this country. And more specifically here lately, just on Monday, I was told another bill was introduced, House Bill 328, that would ultimately damage or kill our industry. And that time, like all other times in the last 7 years, I immediately go into panic mode. I start my calls. My calls start coming in from other people in this industry, leaders, politicians, lawyers, customers, other business people. What do we do? What does this mean? Whatever. And you got half the people telling you, don't worry about it. It's just another bill. It's going to go away. And the other one's saying, man, this one might take us out. And then the you know, all of this comes behind it. The fear. What are we going to do? What are we going to tell our employees? Are we going to be in business tomorrow? All these things, come to fruition very quick. And there's procedures in place for all bills to become laws. We remember it from Schoolhouse Rock or whatever that taught us, bills are created in the House, go to the Senate, signed off by the governor, whatever. What I witnessed in the last 24 hours is opposite of that. This bill got fast tracked through things that usually take weeks or months, happened within a matter of hours. A lot of people were voting on this with little to no knowledge on this bill. The people that introduced this bill, I had to sit there and listen to them talk about cannabinoids, not cannabinoids. One lady said that kratom came from hemp. It's absolutely disheartening to hear these people talk about these things. They know nothing about this plant and nothing about this industry, yet they're making these laws. It's been proven and shown that over 90% of Americans now want some kind of access to cannabis. Not just cannabis, but alternative medicine or affordable medicine, what have you. But in my years of sitting up there listening to these bills potentially get passed, created, made, whatever, I look around and realize that there's very little representation for anybody that these bills affect. Just a couple years ago, I sat there and listened to them pass a law that protected farms, hog farms, from being sued by anybody living around them from getting sick or whatever because they're literally spraying hog feces in the air. And I sit there and listen to them pass a law that protected these corporations that do this. There was little to no opposition. There was no experts around to talk about it. It came down to a vote amongst the voted representation we had up there. and you get a vote of yay or nay, and people barely raised their hand either way, yay or nay. Not everyone was there. Not every representative was there. Some sent proxies. Some didn't do anything at all. And these kind of things happen every single day in our government. It's complicated. It's hard to follow. It's hard to understand. There's all these committees, subcommittees, different politicians with different powers. And they have the power to either push things through or let it sit on their desk. And yeah, today it's cannabis, and not many people care. Most say, as long as I have access, I don't care, or I don't mess with cannabis. I could care less what the rules are. I just don't want to deal with it, which is cool. But as I sit up there and listen to these cannabis bills being read and voted on, I hear bill after bill that's not cannabis related. It's related to your rights. It's related to how you live, your income, your rights in general as a person. And I can tell you, none of the politicians have your best interests at heart that I see. I don't give a damn if you're Republican, if you're Democrat. The party that leads this country right now is business and money. And it's always been that way, but it's more apparent than ever. I'm telling you from my heart, we've participated, we've seen it ourselves. The way these bills and laws are passed is corporations pay big money to these lobbyists to come in and pay off these politicians. That's how it works. Whatever you're trying to get passed, you can get it passed as long as you pay enough money to the right people. And it's legal, and it's public information. This isn't a conspiracy. It's out there to see. You can follow the money of any politician we currently have in office. And that's by design. You know, it costs millions of dollars to run for president. I think the latest figure was $4 to $6 billion to even be considered to run for president. By the time you raise that kind of money, you owe so many people favors that you're no longer the person you are, good or bad, because you owe so many favors to so many people that paid to get you there. And I'm ranting and I'm going on about this because I'm concerned. You know, we've become so loyal to our parties that we've stopped being sensible and we stopped making sense. I hear it over and over again. Politicians will sit across from me at the table and agree with everything I'm saying, but they'll say, "I tell you what, Mr. Sims, I agree with everything you're saying. However, if I vote outside of my party lines, I'll be blacklisted, I'll be ousted, and ultimately I won't be voted back in. So I have to vote along party lines." And this happens on both sides. And that's terrifying because no way all of us agree on the same things straight down the road or along with party lines. But what these parties do is take different things that are polarizing, like abortion, like, drug laws and rules, to things based around religion, all these things that are polarizing, and they use that as their pillar of their campaign. And they realize as long as they have the best interest in these few polarizing things, they'll have people's loyalty all the way to the end. And that's scary because most things aren't black and white. Most things are gray. And most laws aren't laws that are one size fits all. And while you think you're voting in the right way, okay, you're pro-life, anti-abortion, whatever, great. But the repercussions of that, and it's not always cut and dry of who's getting these abortions and why they're needed and all these things. And I can go back and back and back to show this. But ultimately, it's our human rights that are being taken from us. And my biggest gripe to this whole thing, I can't think of one time in history making something illegal corrected it or make it stop. Let's take about anything we can think of. The war on drugs, making drugs illegal didn't do anything but make drugs more prominent, more dangerous, more synthetic, more unregulated, more violent. And then yet the same people making these laws to make them illegal are benefiting the most. Even take something as controversial as prostitution. Making it illegal did not stop anything. It drove it underground. It led to human trafficking, child trafficking, rape, all these other things. And people are, drugged and kept in this hell of underground trafficking and prostitution, where if it's something that was made legal, it could be regulated, helped governed by police that are paid by us, the taxpayers. Same thing with drugs. Same thing with whoever's going to do heroin is going to do it whether it's legal or not. People that are going to use cannabis are going to use it whether it's illegal or not. So as these people don't make sensible regulation to keep this industry going, they want to kill it altogether. and say, if that fixed the problem, I could probably even get on board on that. But let's talk about what that looks like. If you make hemp illegal, if you say today the products I sell in my store and the other people around me selling their stores illegal, it's not like our customers all of a sudden go, you know what, I don't really need this stuff. I'm going to move on with my life. These are products that help people live every day. This is people's medicine. This is people's hope. This is some people's sole reason to get up out of bed and live every day, because they're over the medications that they've been pumped by doctors or by the VA for our veterans. They're over incremental changes. They're over trying to depend on other people for their wellness. So people are taking their wellness in their own hands. What works for me might not work for you, and vice versa. But cannabis gives people hope and an option other than hardcore street drugs, pharmaceutical drugs, and some people would start some things like suicide and other things. But if we're really a country of freedom, why are we taking the choice away from our country, from our constituents, from our citizens? We're adults. We make adult decisions. If it's really about health and saving lives, then where's the gun reform? Where's the reform that limits sugar and these super processed foods that we're shoved down our throats? If it's about making people healthier and caring about their health, why is it not happening across the board? And it's very simple. Follow the money. Those that have the money make the rules. And there's a lot of profit to be made by doing business, by cutting corners. And they're allowed to cut corners because they pay the lobbyists to come and do these bills and change laws to benefit them, not to benefit us. So if we're really going to get down to this ideology of these rules and laws are going to fix things, and it needs to work across the board and not just cherry pick issues and problems. The real truth is everything in this world is a business. Whether we're talking about politics, whether we're talking about law enforcement, you name it, government, you name it. Nothing is free. Everything costs money to run. Something has to fund everything we do. Either we pay for it directly, our taxes pay for it, or some way, somehow, these things are paid for. Law enforcement is a business. They make money not by catching murderers, not by catching rapists, but by arresting people for drugs, possession, usually simple possession, not dealers or whatever you'd hear. But they take that, they seize that, they make these people pay taxes on what they seize. They also seize their property and then use their property to auction it off to make money, to help fund their departments and buy these militarized vehicles and these military-looking police units for civilians. So it all comes down to money, greed, and follow the money. And I've let it go for so long. This is one of those videos that's not going to hit till later on down life. Most of you won't care. Most of you will scroll through it. But I'm fearful. Fearful that the country we were sold on as children of being a country of freedom, a country of choice, ultimately being right, democracy, and being the guidance in this world of uncertainty and violence and third world countries, when ultimately I learned not only do we not want that to go away, we're almost perpetuating it with the way we do business. We marginalize people, we diminish people, we take huge complex problems and blame it on just a few minority of people. And we create enemies out of people that don't deserve it. We are pushing people out of this country at record rates, and this is nothing new. As much as I don't like the Trump administration, this has happened under every administration. We have a problem of bad policy. We don't have a problem of immigrants coming in, raping and killing and all that. Statistically, it shows over and over again, immigrants make up the smallest portion of our violent crimes. It's us, America, we the people, that are doing this to ourselves. We're killing ourselves. We're allowing these corporations to come in and have such influences over our politics that it's no longer conceded division. It simply comes down to pay the money, get the law passed. And who does it benefit? And I promise you it's rarely us. So as I come on here and I bitch and complain about the laws getting passed and our freedoms being taken, not only is it happening, it's happening by people that don't truly understand the subject they're talking about or the repercussions from the decisions they're making or these laws they're pushing forth. Every action has an equal reaction. While the policy might have good intentions, it usually causes very bad intentions. How do we fix this? We have to get involved. Stop being so loyal to your party lines that you feel like that party or that politician has your best interests at heart. We have to pay attention daily. We have to understand the laws and rules that are getting passed. This out there for us to see. Every state, every local government, every community has websites where you can go and see bills that are being passed, things that are being argued. But you, much like me, have a life to live, a family to take care of, a job to work. This happened in the middle of the day on Monday and yesterday. 99% of Americans don't have the time, the money, the effort, or the know-how to go sit in on these sessions and let their voice be heard. What you can do is reach out to your constituent, your representative, whether it be House representative, your senator, or whatever. And I used to hear this, and I'm like, yeah, right, they could care less. They're not going to hear from me. And yeah, they might not care much about you. But if there's certain subjects that you and your family and your friends, if you can educate them on it, about how this is going, and every one of those people reach out to these representatives, it makes a change. And it makes a change fast. Because their biggest fear is not being reelected. We have people that have been in parties decades and have done nothing, really nothing, harm or bad or good. They're just kind of there. And we keep letting it happen because we're not educated to who they are, what they do, what they represent. But myself, as I feel like a lot of other people, are not represented. I think the majority of Americans are not represented. We have so many people to the far left and so many people to the far right that most of us that see things as a basis, base by base, situation by situation, we don't think everything should be lumped in as one party or the other. So we need a third party, fourth party, a liable one that we can make real decisions on and not just go along with party lines. It's disheartening, and I've got a heavy heart. It's been a tough 24, 48 hours. I've pulled away from my family. I'm stuck to this telephone. I've been in meeting after meeting. I'm going to spend all next week in our state capital in Raleigh wearing a suit that I hate wearing, sitting talking to people that could probably care less what I got to say, but some do. And I've had the pleasure to talk to 2 or 3 different representatives this week, House representatives out of North Carolina. They were very informed about what I had to say. They all thanked me for telling them, but most of them were ignorant to all of it. They didn't realize these bills existed, good or bad, and it passed through their desk. But everyone's overwhelmed, and a lot of people get these bills sent to them hours, sometimes minutes, before they have to vote on it, and it's 5,000-6,000 pages long. Nobody can read. I don't even think AI can read through it that quick. But yet they're expected to vote on that within minutes to hours. And most of them just do because their party member to the right or left of them tell them they need to vote for it, not really realizing what's in it. And then it's left to us to come down the road and we go, well, who the hell made this law? Where did this come from? How did this get passed? This is exactly it. Because what happens as we come up on these spending bills and we debate on whether we should raise the debt ceiling or whatever, everybody's bills that have been trying to get passed that have been kind of stuck and can't get passed, they stick them in these spending bills. So it's not about can we have hemp or cannabis today, and it's not about certain rights here and there. It's 20, 30 different things that are getting voted on that's shoved into one bill. And because everybody's so scared to default on funding for government programs or whatever, they go, well, damn, we can't hold this back. We've got to get this funding through. So people just push it through. And day by day, moment by moment, we're losing more and more rights. We're losing more and more positive way of living. Myself and my wife work many jobs to make ends meet, and we're privileged. We're privileged to have these jobs. We're privileged to have what we have. But I know how hard we work just to make ends meet. I can only imagine those that are in much less of a situation. And it's heartbreaking. We get busier and busier. We're away from our families more and more, so we're fractionalized more than ever. We're on these devices every waking moment, every day. We're fed whatever the media is telling us, and it's all to propagandize everything. Like It's sensationalism. Media is a business. To get you to watch, they got to make it as attractive as possible. Spill the tea. Most of these headlines that you read have nothing to do with the actual article. The latest move of propaganda is you're twice as likely to die from cardiovascular health issues if you use cannabis than if you don't. If you go and read through the whole article, it'll tell you how incomplete that study is and how many factors were not considered. And this is what we're fed every day. Our sources of information are skewed and biased. We're working constantly. We're distracted constantly. We're having to pay people to do things that we used to pride ourselves on doing. Keeping a house, watching our children, being a community to help each other. Now we can't even help ourselves. And again, this video might not go anywhere. Nobody might not care, but I'm telling you, we're losing who we are as a society. We're losing who we are as a people. For me, it's cannabis. But as I sit up there and watch these things go through, I realize one by one, we're losing more and more rights. And things that I know my friends, whether they be Democrat or Republican, whatever party they represent, they wouldn't stand for. If your company's making people sick and die, then you should be held accountable. And there should be no laws protecting people, including my own. But it all is by design. When you go and look of our biggest fight in this industry, our fight is funded by big alcohol against us, big pharma against us, all these big, huge conglomerates that are fighting what we're doing, not because it's dangerous, because it's cutting into their profit and their bottom line. Even with that being said, in our cannabis industry, we all used to be united as one. We're now divided up between medical, health, recreational, hemp, you name it. All the same plant, all the same, goals to get this thing legalized across the business. But now we're all fighting for our own division, our own piece of the pie, and we forgot about the big picture. And even within the hemp industry, as I'm finding out this week, there's so much division within the hemp industry. We got every company in the state that is participating in helping get some of these laws fixed and passed. Some are paying this lobbyist, some are paying that lobbyist, some are paying this group, some are paying that group, and there's no unity. And if we're really going to follow this democracy that's been created, if we're going to believe in America, if we're going to believe in we the people, then when the hell are we going to get back to we the people? Because right now we're not. We're divided more than ever. We can't decide on anything. And meanwhile, we're all losing. If you really think these billionaires and millionaires out here making these laws and paying for these laws have your best interests at heart, something you really need to check what you're believing there, because they don't. And I wish I could get more involved. I wish I could help you guys get more involved, but all we can do is kind of play along with the system that's been put before us. But as we sit back and we go to our jobs and we get distracted by trash TV and social media and everything else, we're losing our rights every single day. So I'm going to keep continuing to do this. I'm going to try to educate the people. I'm going to ask to please get involved. We're going to try to post links to be more specific with calls of action. The latest one is, if you're in North Carolina, I would love for you to reach out and tell your representative how House Bill 328 is a killer for our industry and makes it even more unsafe. In this current bill, it even bans CBD. And, again, I heard one of the people saying in their arguments yesterday that kratom comes from cannabis plant. And that's how uneducated these people are on this subject. But what they are educated to is the big marijuana company, the alcohol company, or tobacco company that paid them to push this bill forward. So I guess the call to action again is please get involved. Learn who your representative is, whether it be on the very local front, whether it be your city council, town council, sheriff, your House representative, your senator. These people are elected by us, and they are elected to serve us, not the other way around. So reach out to them often, and don't be mean, don't be degrading, because it gets ignored immediately, but eloquently in the best way you can. Either text them, call them, or email them, and tell them how you feel on any given subject, and they will respond to you. Most of them will take a meeting with you. your voice is important. Your vote is important. If it wasn't so important, they wouldn't try so hard to take it from you and to muffle it and to get you to not vote, because it is powerful. It's the last piece of democracy that keeps this whole shit show going. But you have to get involved. You have to know what you're voting for, and you have to check in regularly of what your representative is voting for and against. Just this week alone, I've got a meeting coming up with 3 different House representatives from North Carolina. All it took was a simple text message and a phone call, got on their schedule. You can do the same. Not everybody can take off from work. Find somebody that can, or if you got a subject or something that you're concerned about, reach out to me or somebody you know that is involved politically so your voice can be heard. But today it's our cannabis rights. Tomorrow it's our right to live and an affordable, comfortable life. So with all that said, I come in a heavy heart, but I remain hopeful that things are going to get worse before they get better. But I hope at this point we all learn the lesson that if we take our eyes off of who we are and where we're headed, it's going to be left up to corporations to decide that for us. So we'll probably fight this bill and win, but there'll be others to come behind it. And ultimately, all we're asking for and continue to ask for is the same thing. We want our children safe. You got to be 21 and up to buy these products. That's an adult age to make an adult decision on whether or not these products belong in your body. The same way you decide on cigarettes, alcohol, the sugar, the fats we eat, the food we put in our body. These are adult decisions. Whether it's in your best interest or not, it's your decision. It's the right and it's freedom. And if you really don't believe in big government, you can't back a party that is becoming a bigger government and making even more personal rights for us decided and not allowing us to do it. So if you care about your rights, whether you believe in cannabis or not, you've got to get involved. And House Bill 328 takes away something that is safe, something that we're all needing, and we're kind of asking for the same things. We need testing requirements for these products. We need to make sure we're making sure children aren't buying these products, so we got to age gate. We want the labels to match what's in the product. Simple enough. And we want you to be able to be licensed to sell these products, so we have that regulation and that extra step in there to take out the bad players that aren't doing things right. We had all that written and ready to go in House Bill 265. That was ultimately killed by outside lobbyist groups that have reintroduced this bill that ultimately opened it up for multi-state operators and large marijuana companies. It doesn't benefit us. It even outlaws CBD oil. So I'm asking for your support to help kill House Bill 328, support House Bill 265, and hopefully we can put some of this here in the links below. And, let your representative be heard. We want access to cannabis, safe access to cannabis. We're looking for regulation, not over-regulation. We don't even mind paying additional taxes. But killing the industry will do nothing but make us more unsafe. It'll make us more dangerous. If you outlaw everything we sell today, it goes immediately back to the black market. You then have to worry about being robbed, not knowing what's in your products, having things stolen from you. When those kind of things happen in a legal market, there's ways to rectify that without violence. In the streets, that's your only options. Violence and being taken advantage of, being robbed, it doesn't make the problems go away. It only makes them worse. So, as always, thank you for your love and support. We're going to continue to post these videos and ask where we're going to need support and different senators and representatives that we need you to reach out to. And contrary to popular belief, it's not because big companies like myself can get very rich. We actually spend most of our money reinvesting into our company, our employees, and fighting just to survive. The amount of money we spend on lawyers, lobbyists, politicians is astronomical. And we're doing so just to keep this going. So whether you're in the business or you're a customer, we need your support. And if you're in the business, we need your support especially. You can't allow others to do the work, to pay the money, to allow you to keep doing business and you're not participating, because none of us are going to win with that. Thank you for watching this rant if you made it this long. Again, get involved. Our freedoms that we were promised and told as children that we fight for and that we were born into really don't exist much anymore, and the few we have left are being taken from us. Don't have complete